Well, I was born in Grand Bay, Dominica. And it's funny that I was born in Grand Bay because neither of my parents are from Grand Bay. My father is from Soufriere and my mother is from La Plaine. But she being a school teacher, these days they used to transfer you anywhere. So she was stationed in Grand Bay and my dad was stationed in Roseau. So they thought that, well, it would be better if they built the house in Grand Bay. So that's how I came to be from Grand Bay and I love it.
Right, right. So tell us what growing up was like for you.
Um, Very protected. My father was extremely strict, being a policeman and later on a fireman. He was very disciplined. And I guess that's where I got my discipline from. I'm a very disciplined person. And yeah, we had a very strict upbringing.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah.
And it made you the
And
disciplined person you are today.
yeah, that prepared me for today, really, because
Right.
being in business for yourself, you have to have discipline.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so just kind of take us back to where it all began for you, where your passion for fashion started, when you first became interested in fashion, and just kind of how you initially pursued your fashion passion. That kind of rhymes, right? Fashion passion.
Yeah. Well, my mother did dressmaking on the side as a side job because she was a school teacher. So I was always next to her and I helped her. I did hems, I did everything. I just helped. I was always with her. So and I think the first time I made a dress for myself, I had to go to a school dance. And she did not make it for me, and I made it for myself. And then she was surprised, and she says, "Well, I don't have to sew for you anymore."
Ah,
And and all through high school, I used to sew for my friends, and for clients who were not school, who were not school students, who were not students, they were just adults. Word got around. So I was very busy during my high school years making dresses for school dances. I had my friends who would
wow.
show up. They would come in on a Friday afternoon after school with their fabric and actually wait for the dress to go to the dance.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, so
I
this was while you were in Dominica, right?
yeah, this was while I was in high school, really.
Wow.
I did a lot of sewing.
Yeah, so
And
you
so when I came up here, I continued. But what got me interested in where the name House of Lorraine came from, my mom was studying in England at some point, and then she went to Paris for a weekend. And she saw a book. It was labeled House of Lorraine. That was the title of the book. So she just bought the book. She had no idea what the book was about.
Mhm.
It was a French book.
Right.
And it so happened that the book was about a fashion house.
Mhm. And your name is
So
Lorraine, so she thought that was
yeah, and
interesting.
at that point I says, when I have my business, that's what it's going to be called.
Right. Do you still have that book?
I don't think so.
Oh, you should
It,
have
prob- it
kept it.
probably it probably got destroyed by Hurricane David because I
Oh,
left in home and I was here at the time.
right,
Yeah.
right. So just kind of tell us about what the transition was like for you going from Dominica to Canada. Any challenges you faced, how you were
It,
able to
it,
start in Canada?
it wasn't that hard at all,
Good.
except that I started working in an office, but I knew that's not where I wanted to be.
Hmm.
So I started looking at the garment factories.
Hmm.
But then I had no idea how the garment factories operated. I just
Right.
knew I wanted to work in that industry.
Hmm.
And when I went and I said I wanted, I went and I'm looking for a job. I want to sew. And then I remember the first factory I went in, the guy looked at me up and down. He says, "You don't belong on the machines."
Oh, okay. Was that a compliment?
Yeah, because
Okay.
in the factories, they were really like piece workers,
Okay.
just
Okay.
like just zoom,
Right,
zoom,
right,
zoom.
right.
It wasn't an art.
Design or
It was just
anything.
it was just learning to how to use the sewing machines. That was all.
Right.
So he offered me a job as an invoice clerk in the office, which I took. But then
Wow.
while I was there, I saw how the factories operated. So I
Mhm.
learned a lot by just observing what went on.
So let me get this right. So you just went into the factory. There was no
And
posting of a job or anything. You
no,
just
no,
went
no,
in and
no,
said,
no, no.
I
I
want a
just went
job.
in. Yeah,
That's a leap
yeah,
of faith.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so later on, started getting more accustomed to the lifestyle here. And
Mhm.
I remember also working at a store, not at a store, at a Canadian Tire. I worked in the office in the tire guarantee department at one time. And I was very close to a finishing school. And I saw all the girls at lunchtime. They were so polished and everything. So I liked modeling and all that. So
Right.
I walked into the school, and then I decided that I wanted to do a course there. So I studied fashion merchandising.
So that's where you got your formal education.
Right. So that covered fashion, a bit of fashion design, fashion history, modeling. As a matter of fact, I got the Model of the Year award when I graduated,
Hmm.
although modeling wasn't something I was looking at.
Hmm.
So after I graduated again, I went back to the manufacturer, but this time as a model,
Mm.
not
So you
to
went
the
back to the same
manufacturing,
job.
not the same manufacturer, a different one, because they were all located in the same area.
Right.
Yeah. So I got a job as a model in a dress factory.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
again, that was interesting for me too, because again, I could observe everything that was going on.
Hmm.
The process from the cut, from the design to the cutting table to the finish. I observed the whole process.
Right.
And strangely enough, while I was working there, I used to just wear my own things. I made my own clothes to go to work. So my boss would, when I would walk in, he would say, "Oh, I like that jacket," and then I tell him, "Well, I made it myself." And
Mm.
they would borrow things that I made and
He
have
would
their
borrow.
designer copy it.
Oh my.
Yeah. And at the
Interesting.
time, I was just feeling proud that they liked what I did, but not
Mhm.
getting anything really out of it,
Yeah,
you know.
because you pretty much were their designer.
Yeah, and then
That's what it
I
boils
was
down
very
to.
young. I didn't know anything about, oh no, you
Exactly.
have to pay me for my design, nothing like
Right.
that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
I
So
did learn a lot.
how long did
Mhm.
you stay with them?
Oh, I don't know, maybe a couple of years, a year or
Okay.
two. And
Okay.
then another agent saw me on the road one day. That agent
Mm.
who had they were not a factory, but they carried different lines of clothing from Italy and Israel, just a lot of clothes that they sold to different stores.
Mm-hmm.
They were an agent. They were a garment agents.
So that is actually the dream of most models to be walking down the road and be discovered.
Right.
So
And
that happened to you.
this lady just stopped me and asked me if I could come and work for her. I guess she just liked how I look. She just asked me if I could
Right.
come and work for her. And I
Mm-hmm.
switched from where I was to them.
Absolutely. And what was that journey like?
That was modeling
Uh-huh.
with a lot of other models. But then they asked me, would you mind staying on with us full time?
Mm. Good
Which
for
I
you.
did. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I did because they had such confidence in me
Mm-hmm.
that when they would go on vacation, that I would take over
Mm-hmm.
and run the business.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd run the business while they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Up till the time they hired me, they closed the business for two weeks every year.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started working with them, they didn't close.
They trusted you that much.
They trusted me that much. And I
Interesting.
recall, so I was basically doing everything, not just modeling, but office duties, accounting, making invoices, all kinds of things, everything I did.
Mm.
Because the only model during the certain seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like in addition to being a model, you saw an opportunity to learn the business.
Right,
So
right.
was that intentional? You intentionally wanted to learn the business because you had your own goals in mind?
I had my own goals to open the business, but just being with them prepared me even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself, well, if I could run a business for them, I could run a business for myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And tell us about that leap of faith of starting your own business.
So when I quit them to start working on my own, a lot of my friends told me, "Boy, you taking a chance. You're going to quit a job and start working for yourself, working on your own, opening a business." But that was the goal I had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
To have my own business, and I just never looked back. I had friends who I studied with at modeling school, and they said, "Okay, we'll go to business together." And when the time came, they said they kind of backed away.
Oh my gosh, are you
So,
serious?
yeah.
Wow.
So I did it on my own. And in those days, you couldn't go to the bank and get a loan. There's no way a young girl would get a loan to open a
Mm-hmm.
business. That was
Mm-hmm.
unheard of. So
Mm-hmm.
I used my own savings to start up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. Now, were there any challenges that came with the initial start of the business?
A lot of hard work,
Yes.
because to open the boutique, I had to prepare a collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do all that work by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there were nights when I slept on my cutting table because it was too late to to get a bus,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Yeah, but it's the
But
sacrifices you make for business, right?
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
after the opening, I had a big store opening, by the way. I had a lot of model friends, so we put on a big fashion show, and the models were on the sidewalk stopping traffic.
Mm.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, I sat down and I put my foot on the desk, and I felt so good.
Good for you. Good for you. Now, what
Yeah.
year was this?
That was in 1976.
Oh, wow.
April of
Absolutely. And that was the height of
76.
fashion as well. There was a lot going on in fashion at that time.
There was a lot going on. And the,
Mm-hmm.
the good thing about when I started, the the fashion stores were the really, really, really high-end stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were really high-end stores.
Mm-hmm.
So I it was good for me then, because I had
Good.
a lot of my clients were young career girls, in the downtown area.
Right. And
Yeah.
did that just kind of kick off the entire trajectory of your business? What was the result of
Yeah,
that
it
fashion
was
show?
just it was you the thing is you did something for one person who worked in a certain office. Like I can remember when the Air Canada office was on Bloor Street, I had a lot of clients, young clients from the Air Canada office. I had a lot of clients who worked at the CN Tower. I had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of clients from Mount Sinai Hospital. Once the word just got around, it was just like word of mouth.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where then I had to start hiring people to do my stitching for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at the highest, how many employees would you say you had?
Um, who worked with me, I had two,
Mm-hmm.
but then I outsourced the stitching to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you took them to the various ladies to do the stitching for you.
Right. So
So I
it
would
sounds like
have
you've
different
had
ladies.
it sounds like
Yeah.
you've had a pretty interesting journey in the fashion industry.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And doing the fashion shows, that was another highlight of
Correct.
my career, is doing a lot of major fashion shows.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
did.
with all of this, you sort of never lost your identity as being Dominican, so because I know
Oh
you've done
no.
a lot with Dominica. But before we talk about that, let me just remind everyone we're here with Miss Lorraine Delsol out of Canada, Dominican by birth, and she's an international fashion designer. And we're just kicking off summer 2021. So thank you everyone who's sharing the live, who's on the live with us. We have Reese Joss, and he says, hi, Miss Lorraine. We
Hi,
have
John.
Del Pero. Hello, everyone. Reese also says, observation is our primary teacher. Let's see who else we have. We have Tina. Hi, Lorraine, fashion designer. Annette Phillip is watching. Masha Badman Alexander. Hello, Lorraine. So lots of hello coming in for you.
Okay.
Marva
Yes.
Charles, nice to see you. Winnie Francis, hi
Oh,
Lorraine,
hi.
Judy,
Hi, Winnie
Leslie, Ronnie, and
Francis.
I are watching.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have quite a few people on the live. So to just tell us in terms of how you kept Dominica as part of your whole design aesthetic.
Mhm. Well, that is the cultural part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I never learned to do a warp while my mother was alive,
Mm-hmm.
but after she passed, I took one of the warps that she made for one of the winners, the traditional Creole queens.
Mm-hmm. Madame
And
Wabduyat.
it wasn't a man, it was a miss.
Oh, Miss Wabduyat.
It
Uh-huh.
was the miss.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was Ali Matthews. It was
Mm-hmm.
her warp I borrowed that my mother made.
Right.
And I looked at it, I measured the panels, side panel, middle panel, this panel, and I up to now I still have it on my board. So
Wow.
that was my guideline. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, you add your own flair to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot make everything exactly the same.
Right. So are
So,
you still making wob duets if someone wants to play
oh
an order?
yes, oh yes.
Oh
I
wow.
always have. Actually, I have a couple down there. One is for somebody in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is for somebody in Toronto. It's just that because of COVID, they have not picked it up.
Right, I can imagine.
But
And I
I I have shipped wobs to the Virgin Islands.
Hmm,
I have shipped wobs to London,
interesting. So we're gonna have to
England.
share some information on how to get in touch with you. Now, how does that work if you're not in Canada? Does someone just send you their measurements
I just ask for certain measurements. I tell them what
and
what I want
height?
them to measure, right? And
Hmm.
then I take it from there and I
You
ship
know,
when it's ready.
it's just a new day.
Mhm.
It's a new day with technology and e-commerce, right?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yes, yes. But what I want to do now, I want to share some of your career highlights to just give
Mhm.
the audience a sense of you as a designer. So let's see. In 1976, House of Lorraine, you started a designer boutique. You
Mhm.
mentioned you studied fashion and merchandising. You were the first West Indian designer in Toronto to launch a major fashion show, which she produced, directed, and choreographed. And you
Yeah.
were featured regularly in a number of publications. And you introduced the plastic see-through pants on the Toronto fashion scene. Tell us about this plastic see-through pants. What was the inspiration for that?
Exactly
A
what it
see-through
is.
pants, can you see
Just
everything?
you saw everything. You just want a little bikini under it.
What was the inspiration for that?
Well, it was the disco days.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
And it took Canada by storm.
I didn't wear one, but the models I made people wear them.
Right. And that is very unique and intriguing. So let's see what
Yeah.
else. Let's see what else we have. The plastic see-through pants coordinated the Toronto Miss Carabana pageant during the 80s. Only Canadian designer to be featured in the Ebony fashion show, not only once but twice. And let's
Yeah.
see, in 2005, Lorraine was responsible for putting a Canadian soccer team together.
Mhm.
ever international soccer tournament and educational exchange camp held in Dominica. Kind of tell us about that. How did that come about?
Well, that's because of my husband being a soccer. He was a soccer coach at the time,
Right.
and my son also played soccer. And I think what's his name? Dr. Clayton Shillingford. He was the
Mhm.
president of DAS at the time.
Right.
And he was the one, they were the ones that wanted to put the tournament together.
Hmm.
So they approached Lennox and myself.
Hmm.
So Lennox is the coach, or he was the coach, but I was the one who actually put the team together. And we
Hmm.
were looking for kids of Dominican descent, but we just couldn't get them interested. So
Wow.
we couldn't. So what I did,
Mm.
I printed a flyer and I went to one of my son's soccer game and I started distributing the flyer.
Hmm.
And everybody, all of the kids were getting interested. When we put that team together, we had a Trinidadian, we had a Jamaican, we had one from El Salvador, we had one from
Nice.
Iraq, we had one from Scotland, we just had, it was supposed to be a team of Dominican kids, but my son was the only Dominican kid on that
Wow.
on that team. But I managed to put a team together,
And
and we
how long
went
was the
to
camp in Dominica?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Well,
yeah.
and it's exposure for Dominica because
Oh
chances
yes,
are if
oh
you had
yes.
only brought Dominicans, their parents already know Dominica, but now these other
Mhm.
families might be interested in coming to
As a matter of
Dominica.
fact, there was one Trinidadian kid, well, of Trinidadian parents, and he had never been to Trinidad. And for some
Hmm.
reason, we were diverted to Trinidad on our way back to Toronto, so he got to
Hmm.
meet his family, and he was so grateful for that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
He got
nice.
to meet his grandparents. He had never been to Trinidad.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're like so many of us, we live Dominica, but we never truly, our hearts and our minds are always still with what can we do for
Yeah.
Dominica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
what I sponsor the Miss Warp in Dominica.
Hmm.
I don't know what they're doing this year, but I bought them the past few years, like all the trophies for all the winners. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. And
Interesting.
basically
Any
sponsored a
word
lot
on
of
what's going on
programs.
this year? I think
I
what's going
don't
on this
know.
year, I think I've seen a flyer to recruit young ladies. You may want
Okay,
to check with the
okay.
cultural division.
Yeah. Well, I'm in
Yeah.
touch with them. I'm in touch with
Hmm.
them. So
I
I
thought I
guess if
saw a
they.
flyer to
Mhm.
recruit young women for the either Miss, I think it's Miss Wabduyet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And I
so
also
hopefully it can go
sponsor.
on.
Yeah, I sponsor the team at the door as well. Yeah.
Yes, so let me go back to
Mhm.
the highlights because it's included in there as well. Everything that you sponsored. So coordinated the Miss Toronto Caribana. We talked about that. First ever
Mm.
international. Let's
Soccer.
see. Let me scroll down so I can see what else we have. She also coordinates workshops whenever she's vacationing in her homeland of Dominica. So tell us, what are those workshops usually about that you do in Dominica?
Well, the last one I did was with the younger kids. I
Hmm.
think around age 12, 13, young girls. I was teaching them how to dress dolls
That's nice.
in
So
a,
you're
in
teaching them how to sew or just
yes,
dress?
dress the dolls. Well, to teach them how to cut and how to put the things together. Yeah.
Right, right. And what are your observations on the whole seamstress industry in Dominica? Because when we grew up, that is how we got our clothing. We pretty much, you had your clothes made by a
Hmm.
seamstress. There was pretty much no buying ready-made clothes. Who could afford it? So many
Exactly.
times, and the funny thing about it is, I don't know if anybody else had this experience who's joining us this evening, but we had the experience where it was me and two other cousins, girl cousins, and it was one material, three
Hmm.
dresses. So what were your observations when you go to Dominica? I mean, is it a thriving industry down there?
No, not really, because
Wow.
when I'm down there, I get busy. Everybody wants me to do something for them because even in Grand Bay, you have like
Mhm.
maybe one or two, and a lot of people say they're not happy with what they're getting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I get busy, although I don't go down for that purpose. But as soon
Mhm.
as I get down, I find myself having so much to do. And even when I come back, sometimes I can't handle everything. I have to bring it back with me to do
Mhm.
for them.
And
Yeah.
that is unfortunate because that was a thriving industry. And not just
Mhm.
that, there was so much pride in being a seamstress and being able to clothe people and see them walk down the street wearing your clothes, and someone would ask, "Oh, who made your clothes?" The last person who made clothing for me in Dominica is Mrs. Leta, Esmond Leta's wife, June Leta. Yes, so
Okay.
she
Yeah.
was the last person who made me clothes, and I loved it. I still have a couple of them to this day because it takes so much pride when somebody takes the time to measure you
Okay.
and
Mhm.
create
And
something that is just
yeah.
uniquely yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you should try doing some Zoom classes.
Not only that, I don't know. I think it more needs hands-on though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different.
Hands-on. But I
Yeah.
think for right now, Ed Regis, the PAL rep at Grand Bay,
Hmm.
he's trying to change that, and they're putting that's one of the things I have to do to teach some ladies when I go down there the next time,
Hmm.
because quite a few of them want to learn to do the warm.
Yes, very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
Very
So
important. Because
that's
like you were
that's what
telling me, it's not just a big dress. There's
no,
actually
it's not.
details to
Yeah,
keep in
it's
mind.
it's not. And what a lot of what I see is not really it's not really made right.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow. So, hopefully that's not a skill that we're losing because
yeah.
it's so important to pass on those skills of what our ancestors wore. Maybe when they had a couple of hours off and they wanted to dress in something that made them feel proud and dignified. It's
Mhm.
important.
It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. And we have the comments are still coming in on the Facebook Live. So we want to thank everyone who's joining us for this very intriguing conversation as we take a walk down memory lane with, is it Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Thank you. I should have asked you in the beginning. My apologies.
But I say
Miss,
I always write Miss MS.
okay, Mrs. Lorraine Delsol out of Canada, from of Dominican origin, and she's a fashion designer. So let's see. Marva Charles says, I need a walk duet. So we have to
Okay.
make sure she gets your contact information.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Dover. Hello. Hi, Peter. Nice to see you.
Oh, hi,
Judy,
Peter.
Judy Joseph. Wow. Annette Phillip. Nice. Riz, very interesting. I have been reading on creating a tech pack. Can you make me one, please? What is a tech pack?
Or Ted Casse.
Oh, Ted Casse, maybe. Do
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
the Ted Casse as well?
yeah. I do that. I do that
Look
as
at
well.
you. Good
Yeah,
for you. We need your
yeah,
skills, Lorraine. We really do. Because
yeah.
I'm just sitting here remembering when I was a little girl, I had a teacher, Mrs. Wilson in St. Martin's School. And for
Mm.
independence, we would all line up and sit in front of her, maybe a Friday afternoon, and she would make our
And
Ted Casses.
style on the heads. Yeah, yeah.
And that is such wonderful memories of growing up in Dominica.
Mm.
So those are skills we absolutely need to preserve. Let's see. Annette says, wow, awesome. I don't know you, Lorraine, but you look great.
Thanks.
Yes, yes. Tina Simone, like Lorraine, adding her own flair to the wob, so too one adds their own flair to the cooking. Oh Lord, we had a program last night, as we discussed yesterday. Hence, one creates their own signature. That's a good question. Do you have a signature style
For the warm,
in general?
I think when you look at the warm, you know it's mine.
Mm,
There's something about it that you know it's mine.
yes, the intricate details, most likely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull up your website in a little while so we can take a look at some of your creations as well. But I just want to thank you for being here with us. So let me check out a couple more of your highlights in your bio. Lorraine is the founder of MWDC Inc., Madam Web
Yeah,
Duet
that's Madam
Canada.
Web Duet.
Tell us about that.
As a matter of fact, on that website, you could see a lot of WOBs. It's
Mm-hmm.
just Madame Wob is another way to preserve our culture,
Mm-hmm.
and not just with the adults, but I've introduced the little ones who 7 years
Mm-hmm.
and up. So every year we do it. We also do a tea madam,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been quite a hit.
I can
Yeah.
imagine the little ones in their dresses.
Little one, third generation, Dominic, yeah.
Third
Get
generation.
get them involved, and as they get older, I get them to like the last shows I had previous tea madams who are now
Mm.
maybe like 13, 14 to host the show.
Mm.
To host the show for the little
Wow.
one. Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing what you're doing because I mean, we're talking third generation.
Yeah. So I want to keep them. I want to keep them involved
Yeah,
in the
absolutely. So,
culture.
so,
Yeah.
so what did COVID impact your ability? I'm guessing you didn't have it last year.
Yes, we didn't have the show, but what we
Right.
did with the adults, we had a walk challenge where I got the ladies to just get
Dress
dressed,
up.
put on the
Hmm.
music,
Right,
and
right.
send me the tip, and we have them all posted on the Madame Web Duet website. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Now, just tell us
Mhm.
about the impact of COVID in general on your business.
Actually, it hasn't really had
No,
impacted me
you can be honest. You can
ex-
be honest.
except not going out, not going to
Right.
parties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I have so much work to do that it just gave me time to catch up.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of that from many people that they had
Mhm.
so many things to catch up that
Mhm.
being unable to go out was a
Mhm.
great opportunity to just
Yeah.
catch up or just to reinvent their business, reinvent something in their lives. So it's great to hear that you were able to see it as an opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just I caught
Yeah.
up with a lot of things I hadn't had the time to do. Yeah.
Right. So
There
so
were things.
so
Mhm.
let's take a look at your website so we can see some of your creations. There we go. Okay, so this is your website, and we will just scroll down. Now, the only thing, Lorraine, I wasn't able to click on each of
Mm.
the photos individually,
Okay.
but what I did, I just zoomed in so we can see it a
Mhm.
little bit better. So these are
Okay.
all your creations that we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this is under the section that is gowns.
Gowns. Yeah. I remember this one there was for a prom.
Which one?
This pink one in the middle.
The pink one.
That was
Beautiful,
for a prom.
beautiful.
Yeah. Prom.
Right. I can certainly see why you stay busy because these are exquisite dressing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
you make
red one. That red
bridesmaid
one.
dresses as well.
Yeah. That red one was also a prom dress.
Mm-hmm.
The gold was a gown, a bride.
Right, right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And on the left, the blue, those are bridesmaids dresses.
Bridesmaids. Yeah.
Very impressive. So that in itself must keep you pretty busy if you have to dress an entire bridal party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one to the right. Oh, yeah. That was for the one to the right was for a beauty pageant.
Mm. Okay. Yes, I can tell. And then is that a
Mhm.
bridal dress in the gold?
Yes. Yeah. That was
Interesting.
a bridal dress. Yeah.
She chose gold for her dress.
Mhm.
I guess
Yeah.
she's royalty. And
Yeah.
so this means you also make wedding dresses.
Yes, I do. That wedding
Good.
took place, that one you're seeing there right now, it took place on the beach in somewhere in South America.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now what is usually your time frame for a wedding dress?
Um, hmm. Sometimes I get notified a year in advance.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
'cause
won't start a year in advance. I just know about it. So
right.
I plan my calendar accordingly.
Right,
Yeah.
because wedding dresses are usually very
Mhm.
intricate details, so you kind of want to not wait 5 months before you're getting married to call up Lorraine and say, "Can you make me a dress?"
I think that one next to the red one, I think that was another beauty pageant in Dominica.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Now let's take a look at I think I saw cultural wear right here. I want to take a look at some of the cultural wear that you do as well. Yep, so from you did the headwear as well as the clothing on these?
Right, right, right.
Okay, excellent. My God, you
Actually, that
must.
that
Yeah.
headpiece there, the pink one, that was for a show in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I see a Ted Casse bottom right.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now they're getting so versatile with the Ted Casses now.
Oh yeah,
You
oh
see
yeah.
so many different options with that.
I
But
don't make any two pieces alike.
yeah, absolutely. These are beautiful. These are beautiful. So the website is House of Lorraine, and let me just grab the link so I can post it in the comments as well if anyone is interested. So let's just talk about being able to continue. I think my concern is a lot of these skills are just falling to the wayside, that there's no real succession plan for
Hmm.
how do we pass the skills on. Already you've observed that a lot of the wabduyets are no longer wabduyets. So is the cultural division on top of that to make sure that classes are being offered in the correct way to make a wabduyet, a tet casse. There's another one, a jip, right? Is that
A
what it's
ship,
called?
yeah.
Yeah,
The
jip.
ship is quite easy to do. But
Okay.
I know Ed wants the ladies in Granby to learn how to do the warp. So I promise I'm
Mhm.
going to do that. We're going to have
Yeah,
some
we
workshop.
need that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for joining us. Let me make sure, let's get some more comments from the Facebook Live. We're so happy you guys are joining us. Marva says it takes a special seamstress to sew a warp duet. Absolutely. Nicole Georges is with us. Hey, Nicole,
Oh,
nice to
I
see
thought you
you.
would not be able to. Yeah. Hi, Nicole.
Yes. Hi, Nicole. Beautiful design, Lorraine. Yes, post the link. Okay, Teresa, I just did. Yes, indeed. Yes, so thank you for being here and for sharing all your information with us. Now, are you working on any current projects that you would like us to know? You have another fashion show coming up?
In Dominica
When?
this year. I don't have a
When?
date yet because
Oh,
I don't have a date yet, but it's going to be down in Dominica.
so you're working on a couple of things right now, a couple of pieces that you're gonna show down
Yes,
there?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
have to keep us posted. We would love to be able to
Yeah,
share it here on
I'll
Push
keep
Past
you
10.
posted. I have somebody down there who's checking out the venue and dates.
So before
So,
the end of the year.
oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, we have to keep in touch. We have to keep
Yeah.
in touch. I want to be a part of that so we can spread the word and share the information. But I'm really happy you're doing the workshops. I have to tell you.
And the proceeds from that show is going to go to the Granby Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen some pictures that it needs
Yeah.
some renovation. Is that the one I was looking
Oh
at?
boy, it's more like rebuilding.
Yes. Okay, so that's the one I was looking at.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. Let's see, Cora Elwin Shillingford.
Oh, hi,
That's my
Cole.
friend.
Hi, Cole. My
That
classmate.
that's my friend and dressmaker from way back when in Dominica. She still sews for me occasionally. She made me an awesome Creole outfit for my granddaughter.
Yeah, she's in New York, by the way.
Yes, very nice,
Mhm.
very nice. And
Yeah.
it's just nice to see we are passing on those traditions to second generation and third generation Dominicans. Nicole again, Lorraine is a cultural ambassador extraordinaire. Any thoughts on that? I agree.
Thanks, Nicole.
Yes, I agree. Certainly. Riz, that sounds awesome. Hey, Beverly, you finally made it. You always miss our lives. Hi, thank you for being here. Marva, that's great. I hope I meet in Dominica someday. Now, just tell us, Lorraine, because it seems like you took so many leaps of faith on this journey from, just walking into that factory and asking for a job and then taking a leap of faith and deciding, you know what, despite everything everyone else said, you are going to start your business. So just tell us where that drive comes from.
I don't know. I don't know because when I applied to come to Canada, I was still in school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just not me. It was me and a couple other friends, Annie and Bernice. And we
Mm-hmm.
just decided we were going to apply to come to Canada. And
Right.
when it was, we started getting correspondence. And when it was time for the interview, they backed out. I said, well, I'm not backing out. I'm going.
Wow. So you went alone.
I went alone, and believe me, I knew nobody here when I came, really.
Wait, so you left Dominica and went to Canada all by yourself?
Yeah,
At what age?
20.
My word. So what was that like? You weren't afraid? You weren't petrified?
No.
Wow, you have an intrepid spirit. Has anyone told you that? You have a
Actually, yeah,
fearless
I
spirit.
look back on my life and the things I did then, I would not do now.
I can see why.
I remember traveling to Rome and getting into Rome at midnight on a train without a hotel, without anything. And I says, oh, when I get there, I'll get a hotel. Not
Are you
knowing that
kidding
Rome is
me?
that kind of city where you just cannot get a hotel just like that.
Right.
So
So what did you do?
I end up sleeping in a staying up in an all-night cafe and putting my luggage in storage
Did you get a
in the
hotel the next
locker.
day?
No, I took a bus and I went on sightseeing.
I mean, you just have this incredibly intrepid spirit, and it's just like no big deal. I just decided I'm gonna go to Rome.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
for
well,
you.
I left Germany because again during the time there was a time when business would be slow.
Hmm.
Like in the fall, like after the summer, business would slow down. It would pick up again in around December, Christmas time.
Right,
So it gave me the time to travel when business was slow. So what
right.
I would do, I went to Germany because they have big fashion shows and like trade
Hmm.
fashion trade. All the designers would come in there from different countries of Europe. So
Hmm.
I again picked up a job modeling while I was there because like I would go for a month.
I would not
So
have
I
done half of the things you've done in your life, Lauren.
yeah.
I'm just
So
being
so
honest.
so I modeled in Germany, and then after the modeling was over, we decided we're going to I went to Milan. My friend and I went to Milan, and because again, Milan is there's all the fashion houses are there. But then she
Right.
got a job, I didn't, so I just decided, okay, I'm not going to stay in Milan doing nothing. I decided to travel some more. I went to Florence, and from there you took the train and you
What an amazing life you've
yeah,
had.
yeah. So
What an amazing life you've
yeah,
had. Thank you
I,
for
I
sharing it with us.
I just wasn't timid at all. I mean, I look back and I
Apparently
say,
not.
boy, I would do that today. No way I would go.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a different world today. Let's just be
Mhm.
honest.
Oh yes. Oh,
It's a
definitely.
different
Yeah.
world today. It's
Mhm.
absolutely a different world today. So back then was the right time to
Yes.
have those
Yeah.
adventures.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's see. We have Teresa. Have you ever done a clothing line? That's a good question.
Yes, I used to at one time, and I supplied some smaller boutiques.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did that at one time.
Right, right.
Hmm.
So right now you're just doing personal clothing.
Personal. Yeah.
Yes,
Personally.
yes. And of course, doing a lot of work with Dominica. That must keep
Yes,
you quite occupied.
right.
Right, absolutely. So for anyone who's interested in getting in touch with you, I know you're super busy, so I'm not even sure if you're taking orders at this point. But if anyone would like to get in touch with you, would you like to leave some contact information?
Well, it's again houseoflorraine.com, and I also have the House of Lorraine Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And my email is houseoflorraine@rogers.com. So you can contact me in that way as well.
Right, and I think there was one of the comments I wanted to catch. I think the Tech Pack, Reese says the Tech Design Blueprint for a fashion design you send to a factory. So I guess if you're going to factory produce your designs, you send them a Tech Pack.
No, at that point, I'm not looking to do that.
Yeah, he was just asking if you've ever done a Tech Pack. Yes, thank you for sharing, Reese. Well, thank you for being here, Lorraine. Thank you for kicking off our summer 2021 conversation. It was wonderful having you as the first guest as we celebrate summer. We celebrate how different the year is this year compared to last year. And do you have any final thoughts, any advice you want to give anyone who's starting off in fashion and business in general, who is struggling, who is not sure they're doing the right thing, who's thinking of quitting their job like you did and going on their own? Any advice?
I don't know how today they would fare out, but I know even in my business, I've had a lot of students in the summer who worked with me, and they do study design, but I think for any designer, you have to study more than just sketching. You should learn to draw your own patterns. You should learn to stitch. Know all the ropes of the industry and not just one area.
And know the business of the industry as well.
Know the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the beauty of today is there's so many more options to display your work. Facebook, the internet, social media.
Right, exactly. When I studied, I didn't have, website, or you couldn't see my things. You either had to physically come to the store or had to come to a fashion show.
Oh, you did the fashion show on the sidewalk. Like you did.
Yeah. And I did them in clubs too. I did a lot of clubs.
Oh, in clubs.
I did a lot of club shows. I mean, at one time, Toronto nightclubs owners used to call me, ask me, do you want to come and do a show at my club? Because when I did, I had a following.
I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm like, this should be a movie, a book, something. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing your incredible journey with us, Lorraine, and thank you for being an inspiration. And of course, thank you for giving back to Dominica in so many ways.
Oh, yes, that's what I'll continue to give back to Dominica for as long as I'm living. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I think that's the goal of so many of us who are no longer physically in the country. We're always thinking, how can we give back?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us right here for another Push Past 10 TDNradio.net presentation. Another wonderful guest. And, of course, we said we're kicking off the summer, so you can expect fashion and music and cooking and just a celebration of life right here on Push Past 10. So again, thank you, everyone who will share this live. Get to follow Push Past 10 for all the wonderful entertainment that will be coming your way. And of course, we will also have educational programs as well. Teresa says you need to keep in contact with schools in Dominica which do sewing and textiles. So she just had one more comment before we sign off, Lorraine.
All right.
Yeah, so it looks like there are a couple of schools. And Granby tends to be the hub of creativity.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what is in the water in Granby, but all creative people I've interviewed from Dominica, at this point, I'm just going to say, so you're from Granby? Yeah, so thank you again. And thank you, everyone. So you have yourself a wonderful evening. Lorraine, thank you again for being with us. And we will keep in touch so we can continue to follow your work.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
Good night,
Have a good
everybody.
evening, everyone. Yes.